In 1919, he hit 29 home runs and was sold to the New York Yankees.
A three-run home run for Buffington. The Yankees now lead it by a score of 3-2.
Bill Lee is now going over to a couple of the Yankees, and there they go again.
One hits it to deep left. That might send the Yankees to the World Series.
Varitek and A-Rod going at it. Roberts is going. Posada's throw. Roberts safe.
And what can I say? Just tip my hat and call the Yankees my daddies.
Welcome to Fanbase, a deep dive into the greatest rivalry in sports. Brian Shackman here, John Senecal here, episode 209. It just continues to be stunning. We're going to be quick here on your Monday as you get out the door, and your Tuesday, whenever you consume, because we're talking about this reversal of fortunes that continues. I mean, the Yankees continue to drop. The Red Sox, despite those many, many games that they gave away early in the season, those one-run losses, those stupid losses, all the things that have happened, the Red Sox all of a sudden look awesome, and the Yankees can't find their footing. And so I guess we'll start with you, John, because I have things to say about the Red Sox. I don't think you can fire Boone at this point. I don't know if Judge is back. I mean, is he even playing? I don't even paying attention to it. I mean, he's in the lineup.
No, Judge could come back Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, Brian.
Okay, well, obviously when he gets back, that is
an old school ring, dude. That is an old school ring.
No, that would be my wife.
But so Judge could come back Tuesday or Wednesday, which would be the second or third game against the Texas Rangers, which is scary for the reason that the Texas Rangers are the second team behind them in the wild card. They're not in the wild card. It's Seattle right now, but the Texas Rangers are only 2.5 back of the Yankees. So technically the Yankees could be out of the wild card after this series. But that being said, let's talk about the Yankees, what they didn't do over the weekend against the Marlins, and they didn't play good at all. They were awful. I'm going to be a little frank here, and I think my text was the biggest dog shit loss of the season Friday night for the Yankees. I mean, that was absolutely unbelievably trash. I mean, that was basically everybody said it, right? Like they blew a 6-run lead. They walked 8 batters in the game. The defense was horrible. The super pen that they got imploded. Nothing went right for the Yankees. And that is just the tip of the iceberg for how bad it's been for them. And it's just a continued free fall from there, because then you turn that into Jazz Chisholm not knowing or not understanding the game of baseball anymore, or whatever he wants to call it. And then Aaron Boone taking him down the runway, but somehow he's in the lineup the next day. I mean, the Yankees have become a complete joke, in my opinion, obviously, Brian.
Well, you're talking about the pop-up where you got caught off first?
Yeah, and you can, he interviewed him afterwards. He said he would do it again, and you can take that kind of out of context. Basically he's saying that in plays like that, the guy can drop the ball, right? And then you'd have to run. But there's nobody in the planet that's gonna beat that ball to second base. You have to understand the game of baseball, and it's like you get your head in the game. You're gonna make a situation where your team looks like a bunch of buffoons, and you're gonna make it look even worse. It's just and you hear it from everybody. They don't even understand how to explain it. And I don't even think Boone can explain it anymore, because he's getting so testy in interviews after the game. It's just, it piles on. It's not good. It's not good for Boone. It's not going to be good for Cashman, because it's going to be the end of the days for these guys if they don't make the playoffs. They're not going to survive this one, Brian. It's just not.
There is no doubt that if the Yankees don't make the postseason, though, I mean, I would imagine they're both gone, which is tough because Cashman's been around a long time. And
I had said it before, Cashman should go. He's been around way too long. It needs new blood. That organization needs new blood. And it almost sounds like they become a laughingstock where it's like, well, Hal's not going to do nothing. He's not like his father. And then Cashman's just running the team, and he's just doing whatever he wants because it's like he's been there forever.
But, we said just a week ago, we thought some of their moves were good and this and that. And the other thing, I don't know. I really, you know what I mean? They could have a week where they win 5 straight, and then all of a sudden we're not, you're not going crazy. I mean, my thing is that I actually think that they'll stabilize. I do. I think Judge is that much better than almost everybody on the planet, that just him being back, if he comes back and if he's healthy, I think they will stabilize. But what if they just make the wild card? What if they lose in the first round? Or what if they lose in the divisional? Like, to me, if they don't make the ALCS, they're all going to get fired. They should all get fired anyway, to be honest, because I don't know. I mean, I've thought Cashman's made some good moves. I thought the way he replaced Soto was good. I mean, I have to be honest. I don't like the Yankees, but I there's not a lot of things I mean, players that were supposed to be great aren't great. I mean, Volpe was supposed to be maybe a generational player. He's not, or at least he's not yet. And may never be in New York. I don't know. So I think the freak out is justified, but I think these guys have to do more than make the playoffs. If I were the owner, they have to do more than that to stay in place, because they do need new blood. They absolutely need new leadership. And Boone just now getting intense with his own team. Like, he's always so intense about umpires and stuff. He should have been tougher on his team. He's just like Cora. The Bulls should have been tougher on their team earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I know, Ryan. It's like the most frustrating thing I can begin to watch. Like, I'm listening to what you talk, and I had like all these things in my head, and they're just rattling around, and I forgot what I was going to say. It's just, oh my God, I can't watch the team anymore. It's so hard to watch bad baseball. You just got schooled by a Miami Marlins team. Yes, they are the hottest team in baseball. They're like 30-14 over the last 45 games. I get that. But when you lose to teams and you look bad, you just look bad. Every facet of your game looks bad. And I understand the new guys came in. Those are good moves. They're good moves on paper, except the Bird move. That guy, right. Whatever. Looks good on paper. Speed bumps. But the problem, again, I will say it, in New York, when you have those speed bumps and the road is already rocky as hell, it does not go well. And it just keeps snowballing. This is not going to end well for the Yankees. I'm telling you right now. The Yankees are not going to make the playoffs. They're not. Judge is not going to sustain this, because what I said, what happens when Judge comes back? Now Giancarlo Stanton has to play the outfield. And if you're going to put him in the lineup, he is a liability to you. And he's a liability to you when Judge is healthy and he's playing the outfield. It sucks that you have to make this decision on this guy, and you're going to have to eat him through the 2027 season. You're just going to have to, because you're going to either give him away because no one's going to pay for him, and your team is not dynamic at all with him. It just isn't. He runs into a streak, and then the rest of the time he looks like the worst little leaguer on the field swinging. It's just how it is, Brian, and you can't play the odds and think you're going to beat major league teams the way the other teams are constructed. It just doesn't work.
I get it, but I also know, like, the way, especially the way the Red Sox were early in the season, that a couple of days can change a lot. And right, so the Red Sox aren't going to win 20 straight, right? Most likely they're won 5 straight. If they lose 2 and the Yankees win 2, the Yankees are back above the Red Sox. So, like, things change very quickly.
Yes.
The problem with both teams that need to be concerned is that teams like Seattle and Texas are legit contending teams. I mean, those are, like, they arguably might even be better on paper than both the Red Sox and the Yankees.
Absolutely. 100%.
So, I think that's the consideration here. And if I could just transition to the Red Sox, there's 2 things I want to say. This past weekend, I paid more attention than at any other point in the year. I watched them on TV. I listened on the radio, which, I mean, it was really interesting to me when I think about it. And I'm not going to bang on Will Fleming, because I think his regular play-by-play, but when he's sitting there with Manny Del Carmen and they're making like 90s movie references, and I'm just thinking to myself, this could be good if they were more interesting people, but it's like, it's so not Joe Castiglione. Like, it's just not. And I guess the era's over and I have to move on, but they try to be somewhat entertaining, and it wasn't bad, but and their baseball stuff was pretty good. Like Del Carmen talking about a whole bunch of different, release points and all this different stuff that I thought was really interesting, but they don't feel like, to me, like, radio play-by-play should feel like that nice security blanket that you put under your head. You know what I mean?
There's not much good around, Brian. It's tough to find it now.
It was
old school, like, soothe you to sleep and just comfort you and make you feel at home, guys. It's not around.
And I love and it's the same as Scully and obviously Sterling and Castiglione. It's like, and I the thing I loved the most was, like, when they talk about back in '94 when they were in Seattle and they had that 16-inning game, and you remember that, those 5 relievers or whatever, like, just the recall. And I love that kind of stuff. Whereas, like, Will Fleming is super smart and studies his tail off, but he's just referencing stuff in the media guide that we didn't know. You know what I mean? So, like, there's not as much based on, like, actual living it, right? And I think that there's a qualitative difference. But back to the team, I paid a ton of attention this weekend, and I listened live to Roman Anthony's walk-off. And, Bregman is such a game changer. Like, that guy is such a game changer.
Before the season, he's a winner.
I know. And then, to have those 2 games and then to sweep Houston with that guy, Valdez was
yeah.
nasty. And he got squeezed a little in the first inning. I listened to the first at bat. Rob Refsnyder had a 12 pitch at bat where then he looped a single to start the game, and it's like back to Moneyball. He threw a lot of strikes and he ran out of gas on his strikes. And I don't know. There's something interesting about this team. A bunch of guys that I don't know much about, like Romy Gonzalez and all these guys. And what I would say is that the people who really like baseball, like my parents are in their 80s. The Red Sox are like keeping my parents alive. I'm only half joking. Like they don't have a lot going on in their life.
Gives them something to do.
My mom's basically immobile. They listen to my mom. Like they'll watch the game and then she gets too tired. She goes into bed and she listens in bed on the radio until she falls asleep. And and they're so into this team. And so, do I think ownership still is brutal? Do I think that they didn't send a strong enough message at the deadline? Yes. Am I still ultimately, frustrated with the franchise and the way they disrespect us? Yes.
But do you think they're going to sell the team?
This team might have a little bit of mojo that doesn't matter, right? And so I'm starting to really kind of, my nephew will be like, duh, this has been the way it is all year. They're just getting unlucky. I don't know, but they're feeling it. Now, are they going to go out and they could lose 5 straight and I could be pissed again? So I'm not getting too excited, but I will say that the Sox being 3 games out of first and clear by a game and a half in the wild card was not on my bingo card 6 weeks ago.
Oh, no.
And that makes it really, really, really kind of fun.
I'm completely shocked that the Yankees are only 4.5 back at Toronto after how bad they've been playing. It's unbelievable to me. I feel like the Yankees, how bad they've been playing, they shouldn't even be in the wild card right now. Which, like I said, that could very well happen after they play Texas and Houston. They have to play. They come home against Houston too. It's the Yankees are a mess, dude.
The Yankees. I mean, if Texas and Houston, because Houston's going to be pissed. I mean, they're going to come out of Boston pissed. And I think Texas is just really they have a lot of stars. I mean, they're just a good star-laden veteran team. That's
and they know if they take care of them, they know what they did. They leap them and they knock them out. I mean, that's the double whammy, basically.
Hey, I want to talk real quick before we go. I didn't follow what happened. I know there was like a rain delay on my morning show on WTIC News Talk 1080. I had talked about how the seating for the MLB game in Bristol, Tennessee, you can always buy seats behind home plate. But there were seats to the side of behind home plate that were literally like 50 yards away from the field. And so I'll admit, I haven't read a shred of the follow-up. I don't even know what happened, but you tell me it was kind of a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, it was MLB's ploy, to get excitement in the region. That
you think they want baseball in Nashville?
Basically, that would be my guess, right? Hype it up so you get the region going. They have the Braves basically is the only thing in the South in that area. So the Speedway Classic is against the Braves, shocking, and the Cincinnati Reds, and they started the game, and it's obviously outdoors at Bristol Motor Speedway, and the seating was interesting, right? To begin with, they had some seats that were literally like behind right field line bleachers that they had constructed on the field where you basically couldn't see the field. And then they had seats way out in dead center field that were going for like $170 a piece where you need basically binoculars to watch the game. And then, of course, it rains. So the game starts and then it rains. It goes into a rain delay and then it gets played on the next day. But the interesting thing here, Brian, is social media blows up because initially the first day before the game even starts, they run out of hot dog buns, and they run out of cheese for nachos. So people are running around just eating chips and buns, hot dogs without buns. So everyone was calling it the Fire Fest of MLB. So a logistics nightmare, I guess, for MLB. I guess, was it worth it? I mean, if you look at the time lapse and everything they did, the amount of money that went into this operation is insane. They built a baseball stadium as a turf field, but they built it there. It had to be expensive to do. And, it's an investment for MLB. It must have been worth it, but I don't really think it was a great thing for the fans experience. You know what I mean?
Hey, listen, before we go, I mean, you have to, that's the whole point. If you spend X millions on trying to bring people in and it's not fun for the fans, then it's a waste of time. And the bottom line is, I think here's the interesting thing that I think baseball gets wrong. I think they should have found a way to like not have secondhand market, make it small,
Right.
and make it like fucking Iowa, excuse my language,
Like
with
the
the
Field of Dreams
cornfields.
was, or like,
Yeah. So
the,
it to me, it's just was they probably knew they could recoup their investment with all those seats, and to me, that's where the short-sightedness is. If you want to pull people in, the best way to pull people into baseball, make them feel close.
make them
That's
feel
how you do
close.
it.
Yeah. And I don't necessarily think that was the proper maybe venue or target audience right now. I think there's enough hype in the Nashville area to get a team there. I don't necessarily think, going out to Bristol Motor Speedway and throwing a game on there might have been the right play exactly to the fan base, I'm saying,
Right.
that you were looking
Speaking
at.
of that, this is fan base. This is a deep dive into the greatest rivalry in sports and basically baseball. You are a good friend of Bobby Dickerson, who is he the bench coach now with Philly?
He's been the infield coach for the Phillies for the last 4 years, 5 years now. Yeah,
and he's kind of the infield whisperer, right? I mean, he's like, there isn't a person in baseball. I don't know why he never got to manage, but just about every former player talks about how he brought out the best in them, and he's a grizzled veteran who you befriended in the minors. If you ever listen to those podcasts, you should go back about 150 ago and listen to them. And so you visited with him. He's always good to your kids, brings them on the field and stuff. But you talk a little bit about that experience, but also talk about what he said about some of these teams.
Yeah, so it's always an interesting experience when you get to go on the field. So they were playing the Tigers Sunday Night Baseball in Philly. Christopher Sanchez against Charlie Morton, 41-year-old Charlie Morton. And it was a pitcher's duel. But, we get to go down on the field ahead of time. And the interesting this time is there wasn't many people down on the field. Usually there's a lot of people. So it was very laid back and it was very accessible. And the players were all around. But
why is that?
I don't know. I think it's just because maybe the time it was a night game and it was the Tigers, and maybe it just wasn't such a huge draw. Like usually I'm there, it's like the Yankees were there, and I've been there when the Orioles are there. But the Yankees are there, it's like crazy. I think that's just in general. But every time I've been there, there's been more fans down on the field. But the actual stadium was sold out once the game got started. But that being said, what a great game though. It was basically a pitcher's duel, and you got to see Christopher Sanchez pitch a great game and got to see some awesome defense. One of the plays of the year, in my opinion. Riley Green and left
I saw that. Yeah. They both could have gotten killed, by the way.
Exactly. But. And then he made another great catch later in the game. Bryson Stott made an awesome play at second base. We saw Kyle Schwarber comes in late, hits a home run. They have an appeal play at first base in the ninth inning that could have put the tying run at the plate, which goes in the Phillies' favor, reversed. And Johan Duran comes in and they get the spectacle and the save. It was a perfect baseball game to see, Brian. It was great. And the Phillies wound up going in the first place in the AL East as a result. But, I was talking to Bobby ahead of time on the field, and, Bobby was originally drafted by the Yankees. So he came up through the Yankee system. So he knew the Yankee way, right? The Yankee way, the Steinbrenner way. So I asked him, and I did not expect a long answer or anything. He's a very short-worded guy sometimes. I was just kind of expecting, I said to him, what's up with the Yankees, man? They need you over there. You need to fix that infield. He goes, yeah, they do need me over there. I could definitely fix that. And I was like, what's wrong with them, dude? I'm like, I know, what everybody's saying, but what's wrong with them? He's like, they've lost their identity. He goes, as soon as a guy like Stroman on the team, and then Jazz Chisholm, it's just going against what the Yankees do. And then the beard, letting people have the beards. And it's just changing the way the Yankees were, and he explained it when you played the Yankees before, you played something different. You played a different standard. And there was a mentality when you played against them that you were playing something that was not godly, but just different than you. So you almost you elevated your game, you had to play better. You just couldn't beat them. You're a different team. They had a different feel.
So Stroman and Chisholm haven't lost their flashiness, right? They're still sort of more about the me.
Exactly. Exactly. It's not think about Reggie Jackson, right? He was the last real flashy Deion Sanders, that kind. But Reggie Jackson, Billy Martin wanted to kill him in the dugout for being the way he was, right? How do you think Billy Martin would have treated Jazz Chisholm now if he did what he did? He would have probably went over and wrung his neck on national television in the dugout. I'm not saying that needs to happen, but what I'm saying is the Yankees, in a way, this year, become a joke, right? The way they've been playing. But they've lost their identity. And I'm not saying everyone's saying, oh, yeah, the Yankees are all stuck up. You got to cut your face and shave your stiff. But again, they were the Amazon or the Google or the Steve Jobs. That's what everybody wanted to be, but they hated on them, right?
Yeah.
And they've lost that. They're just another team that gets whacked, and they're
So it's funny because you can look at this from a 30,000 feet perspective. That the culture has moved on from those things, and they were just maybe made the calculated analysis, and maybe there were some people who didn't want to play there because of those rules, or that facial hair was so long hair was so culturally acceptable. Now it's not like it was the late 60s, early 70s, and you're trying to send a message or something. And so maybe they just thought that maybe that approach is dated or what have you. And it's interesting for you to say that even people in baseball know Bobby Dickerson's an old school dude, let's be honest. But I do think that you're right in the sense that there was the like the Yankees, are they the only team that didn't do City Connect jerseys? Right? I mean, like that. I mean, it's total like dickhead arrogance, but it is different and it is unique and it does make them special. And now they're less special because of that. I don't know how it deals with recruitment and comportment, but
he also did say that it starts with Cashman. He goes, it's not even Aaron Boone. It's like without that example from the front office, like just as that Jazz Chisholm play again as an example, like if that doesn't come down from Cashman, that he's not in the lineup the next day, regardless, like that's just the problem. You know what I mean? Yeah. So who's making that call? Like you hear a lot of people saying Boone's just a puppet and then Cashman runs everything. So why wasn't that the call? Like you cannot let that happen. Gleyber Torres gets benched last year for just having a mental lapse on the field or whatever. You know, like this guy, like beyond Little League stupidity. Right? Say what you want. That's a dumb play.
Well, like, I don't understand. What was his justification? It was an infield pop-up, basically.
Yeah, he was.
Why wouldn't you go back to the base? Like, why would you be taunting it 5 steps off? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I think he was thinking if he dropped it, he could get off the base and maybe he would be the faster guy. They would go with the guy for first. I don't know.
But that's a pop-up that 97% of the time gets caught.
Thank you, Brian. Even if you plan to drop it, you're going to get the lead runner 99% of the time.
Yeah, totally.
And most of the time, the umpire might just say, screw it, because he did it on Volpe a few games before. They were like, no. It don't work that way. You're not just going to drop it like that and plan on dropping.
So listen, I really think that we could have different conversations in a week. I do. It's going to be interesting. I think the Yankees are clearly in a tougher spot right now because of this near-term schedule. I mean, I think playing Texas on the road and then Houston anywhere is going to be tough. And it's not, by the way, it's not like Kansas City's a pushover. They're playing some pretty good baseball. So, I think it's going to be an interesting week, but the weekend was fun for me, and I understand why it was miserable for you despite your experience in Philly. We'll maybe do one late in the week. I mean, I think we should double up if we need to. So great job as usual, John. You've been listening to Fanbase, a deep dive into the greatest rivalry in sports.